Okay, so thank you for attending for today's webinar. Today's webinar is a hot topic. We are going to talk about intersection of AI, Metaverse, and Web3. We have three distinct speakers to talk about the topic. So without any delay, I will start my overview, and then we will have two other sections that the first is Doug. We'll talk about in all aspect of the AI for Metaverse and Web3, and Nico and Philip will talk about very specific implementation about how to build the Metaverse world, the powered by AI. Okay, let me share my screen first. I hope that you see my screen.
Yes, we see it, but now it's in the full screen mode. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going, because it's a big topic, so but I try to my effort to make very brief, and then but still contain every aspect, very key aspect of the recent progress in AI, and also like a Metaverse and Web3 development. So for me, actually, I follow AI from the start. So my work for AI maybe started more than 10 years ago. And so I'm very much follow the track of the AI. And the Metaverse Web3 also like have been out there maybe more than 7 years. I've started my maybe year 2015, something like that. Metaverse, yeah, it's a recent topic. I've tracked maybe more than 2 years. So it's a good time to combine together to look at it, how the AI can help for Metaverse and Web3. Okay, so first I recognize that AI can help in AI for building Metaverse world. So Metaverse world means that the Metaverse, I'm not going to talk about what is mean by the Metaverse or whatever. We are already in the space. So, but one thing that I can see this is that Metaverse world is now building in a different platform. But anyway, a lot of people are interested in joining Metaverse, we talk about like immersive experience. A lot of the experience can provide as if like in real life. So first I noticed like a 3D environment creation. So 3D environment creation means that it's kind of like this kind of thing is a Meta AI builder bot. Actually, you may see in this demo that Mark Zuckerberg talk about what kind of things he want to bring. So he talk about ocean and island or the like trees and whatever he talk, and then he can create it. So this is the one part of the AI can from your voice description, they can create a virtual environment. Actually, the level of the sophistication still very simple one, but in the future we will see that, like you have seen the Star Trek, like in the Star Trek, you have so like you create some virtual space and you create virtual things and you interact. You have seen in a lot of the SF movies, but that will come maybe in near future. But we are at the version of the like this kind of like starting. So from the like a human like a voice, the computer can recognize it, and they convert it to like build a Metaverse environment. And the Boostry, the recent topic is more focused on like a 3D object creation, because a 3D object can have a lot of the utilities in business and other like art and other area. So I just noticed that there are many efforts, but noticed two like effort was the NVIDIA Gutenberg 3D and Get 3D is converted 2D flat image into realistic 3D models. So it can be like it can be put into like a virtual environment, right? And then Magic 3D is a recent one. Is very similar to the Meta AI builder, but in this case they are from text descriptions. But anyway, text and voice can be converted because of the natural language technology is advanced. So you can switch over between voice and text. So it's a very similar one. And human avatar creation, the avatar is your digital representation. So it is very important element of the metaverse world. So there are many trial like Meta also like create high resolution 3D human avatar from 2D images. And Google also create a 3D avatar from single photos. So this can be like element of the your metaverse world. So metaverse world means environment, space, and object, and digital humans. So this is the one I noticed that in the future, in the like recent report. And particularly that I'm interested in the metaverse fashion that you may heard about. This topic is actually the hot topic in the media focus recently. There are the metaverse fashion shows and metaverse digital fashion. And so this one actually that you may heard many times in the like some of the magazines or the media or something like that. And so I just has some like a few examples in here, but maybe there may be more broad application of AI. So for example, I3 Spectrum that has an article about AI generated fashion is next wave of doing yourself design. So they provide like, this is the basic idea is that they provide description and then AI will convert that description to design, right? So this is one like a startup using that the background AI code model to like a design. So this is one example that you want to describe a shirt, and then they will design it. And then if you are supported by another like a design or the production of the garment, and then they will actually realize as a real garment or the digital fashion. And so another thing is like crossing GAN or the garment GAN is a GAN is a generative like adverse network is a technical terms, but it's kind of we call generative. They create something. So they if you put some of the like image, they will convert, they will change it, or they can mix. So this is an example that they can generate a bunch of the new creation. So here is another one. If you have one shoes, and then they can develop a bunch of the different type or the design or whatever. This can be created by the AI. And but here that because I want to have some point we need to talk about here is that because if this kind of thing generate, and then usually that US, I'm a US patent attorney and US IP lawyer, so I'm New York State attorney. So I'm also like considering the legal matter with this kind of the innovation. And particularly the interesting to me is that if you have original, like for example, design, and you are the designer, you have original design. For example, you can design in the paper by the pencil, or you can use using the CAD or the design tool to design. And then you want to convert this to different type of design using AI, for example. Then the original one, actually you has ownership, and then you design it, and then you file the copyright, you have a copyright ownership. Or without any filing the copyright, actually you convert to digital file, and then you will has that ownership of the copyright law. But what happened that using this AI that generate, who owns copyright? This is a question actually that I posted this question in my LinkedIn profile that I have like a multiple choice problem like that. Who owns this copyright? Actually, it's not clear yet, but my answer is none, because it is created by the AI, and the US, like for at least the copyright law or patent law does not recognize the creation by the AI. So they do not provide any like a creation of the AI. For example, you create your, for example, like recently like a like a GPT. You provide a bunch of the like a technical term, and then you have some new things coming out, and then you file it, and then actually the US Patent and Trademark Office will reject it because it's generated by the AI, and they are not recognized invention by AI. It's the same situation, right? The copyright or whatever the intellectual property laws. So but it's not developed yet. So because until we have some like conflict, and then somebody bring this issue to court, we don't know what will be the right answer. But you have it maybe better to have understand that this kind of third situation can happen. So we can use AI freely, but as with respect to legal matters, is still subtle, and then we don't know what will happen in the future. This is the same thing for NFT, right? So you should be careful about what will happen in the future. But anyway, because AI can bring a lot of the like creativity to us, so we can design in a different type, and so this is a good news. And the metaverse shopping also, like this is topic that Nico and Philip will talk about it. But in addition to metaverse fashion, that actually there are a lot of the like realization and business going on, and some monetization. Also, metaverse shopping is another big topic that actually in the near future that a lot of the like a traditional website is a 2D. Is a Web2 based 2D website will be changing 3D Web3 based 3D website in the future. So we will notice that in the future that a lot of the website will changing, and the avatar can your reputation will join in that 3D website, and you explore and the shop and have experience, and then you will have like a product, you can buy it. Everything actually you have done in actual shop place, like a shopping mall or the like whether it's Walmart or whatever. So we can hear about this topic more from Nico and Philip later. Okay, here is another topic to talk about is how about the Web3? So the Web3 means many things, but usually that there is a blockchain and cryptocurrencies, especially the non-fungible token NFT and decentralization like a DAO, something like that. So you have something. So AI can also like support this kind of like area. Okay, so for example that for example, the AI generated border apps is kind of like a PF type NFT. Then you see that the GAN is a generative AI can create from the like your input like image. They have a different variation, and then they have a different NFT, right? So you can have like a series of the like your NFT based on one NFT, but you should be careful about the who owns or the copyright right, because that's the one issue you will think about it. So when you like for example to deal with like for example OpenSea or whatever, like your NFT marketplace, and then you should be you need to be think about the who has ownership and how they create it, and then who has the IP right, and then whether the smart contract can take care of that issues. So that's a very important topic. You should be careful about it. Okay. So many topics you can even the DAO can have from the like AI, and also DeFi. Also, like for example, in DeFi, you have like a money market, and then you want to invest something that you know about there are a lot of like yield farming or something like that. So you invest in your token, and then you earn money through the like interest or whatever, and then AI can take care of your investment, like similar to like algorithmic trading in their financing area. So you can think about the situation in the AI can handle your like either be you're like a investor, so the AI can take care of the whether you you need to like increase your portfolio, where you invest your like cryptocurrencies or something like that. And also like not only this kind of thing, that actually the issue with the like current blockchain is there is a one is interoperability, the other is scalability. So you may know that the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and recent Ethereum 2.0 and many other like mainnet blockchain has problem with they are not much enough scalability. For example, that if they are going to like a mainstream in the payment and finance sector, like for example the credit card transaction, that the throughput, the speed of the transaction should be like at least like 50,000 per second is needed. So actually that's required that you actually the concurrent transaction among like 50,000 people at one time, they like use their credit card. So but the current blockchain cannot support that. So a lot of the innovation is going on to catch up that scalability. And then I know that there are several efforts to that on. So here is one particularly like a SkyChain is they using deep reinforcement learning. So deep reinforcement learning, you may know about it, famous by the like DeepMind in the Google acquired company. So like so this kind of thing actually they have to like they call like a sharding. So they can use multiple transactions and multiple nodes, you know, like a separate group and then harmoniously using that one. So this is one actually you see that in the like NFT it's the AI for the Web3, especially this kind of application is available. Okay, here is just fun because I just asked to ChatGPT. So Doug is the next speaker. Will talk about ChatGPT more detail, but it has an interface. So you have you just put, for example, I just AI for Metaverse and the AI for Web3 or something like that, and then the AI can give us some nice summary of that. So just fun. So you can look at it later. I already share you, or if you're not, then I will share in my LinkedIn profile, so you can look at it. And this is one my favorite textbook. So so if you want like a general introduction, especially for business use, I just made a summary, but you can use it. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so next we have this speaker Doug who will talk about like ChatGPT and any other aspect of AI for Metaverse. So Doug, could you start?
Sorry, my computer froze. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you can do.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see if I can get going. Yeah, okay, let me.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes. And do you want a hard stop at 15 minutes, or do I have a little bit more time?
You can have more time because
okay, it'll be 20 minutes then.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Centaur author, Centaur artist. This came from the Centaur chest, where you combine the human collaboration of AI and the metaverse in the 2020s. So this couple of mid-journey pictures about this combination of humanity and AI. So I just put into mid-journey the title AI for the metaverse and Web3. And so the left shows some of the pictures that gave a theme of what's going on. And I said, okay, do this in the style of Picasso. And so the right shows some of these pictures. So it's very easy to create art, to create words. So Alan, I see, is in the audience. He's part of a book club that I'm part of. And we were talking about this, and I talked about AI could do more for books and writing, what Gutenberg and the printing press did in the 1450s. And Alan made the comment that, well, this is the AI Gutenberg moment. And, I'm a big believer on humanity's stance on the shoulders of giants to learn new things. There's not very much original out there. And so what AI did is it took all this information and it lets us AI is another large giant to help us stand and find other large giants throughout humanity, throughout history. So, here's some artwork I put on the AI Gutenberg moment and some of the artwork that came out. I'm not an artist, so this is kind of cool when you're experimenting that you can have all this great, in my opinion, art even if you're not an artist. So this collaboration, I think, is really important. So the manuscript, in 1450, there was about 1 million books manuscripts being written, produced, and then all of a sudden with the printing press, then it went by a factor of 100 very quickly. So this is going to be this explosion of information and material, and it will be interesting to see what goes on. So GPT-3, it stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So generative is a set of rules of linguistic input to produce all the well-formed items of language. If I'm an engineer, not a writer, and so I tend not to be as well formed as I should. So actually, GPT-3 can help me be a better writer to do well formed language. It's pre-trained. So you get what you get. So if the training is good, that's good. But if it's not, you can have errors in the training data. Though actually that you can get fake data anywhere. Then you have this transformer. The T is in pre-GPT is transformer, which is a deep learning model. It's has this focus on self attention, which is to mimic cognitive attention, right? So it's trying to mimic the human experience. So GPT-3, just as a comment, the majority of the weight training is from Common Crawl, which and the 2021 data. So it was, doesn't have any data from 2022. So that's another limitation of this set, though GPT-4 is coming out. I did hear one statistic, I couldn't find it, but it was like it's going to be maybe even 90 times more powerful GPT-4 than 3. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, it's part of the artificial language, artificial intelligence, natural language processing. So I'm part of this book club called Bookflow Labs. We're actually in January 4th, we're going to start talking about the future visions. So Mark Van Rijtman, he created a book in 7 days along with ChatGPT and OpenAI, and we're the author. And so we're going to be reviewing that book on the 4th. And then on the 11th, Mark's coming in to give a talk on this. But we went through Matthew Ball's book. We just finished the network state. So these are some of the posters that have been created. And we have artists, we have musicians in this group. We have an IP lawyer, which gives some interesting perspective on this topic. So future vision, what Mark did is he asked 151 questions on the topic of the metaverse, strong AI, quantum computing, and these other total of 7 different areas. And by asking these questions, this is the book. My saying when I talk to students, my background is I worked for Nokia, Motorola for 33 years, and now I'm working in education and healthcare. I say in a world where answers are available instantly, knowing what questions to ask is critical. Also be know about critical thinking, right? And being able to vet this information and just don't trust the algorithm. So actually I wrote, asked GPT-3 to write a 200-word essay, how AI could eliminate humans' ability for critical thinking and just believe what the AI algorithm says. A quote I really like is a little learning is a dangerous thing. You need to drink deeply. AI can intoxicate the brain, but critical thinking largely sobers us again. So one of the skills I talk to the students about is really, you got to, whatever this technology gives you, you really have to be critical, have a critical thinking and really vet the information, is critical. So anyway, this is chapter 2 of the metaverse. I put that into, there was a summary about 3 paragraphs from the book, and I just put that into GPT. The output was: the metaverse is the next stage of the internet, virtual worlds accessed through virtual and augmented reality devices, where users can interact with each other digitally and virtual objects. It will change how we live and work and interact, enabling a 3D society. So I thought that was a pretty good summary of the talk. And then what I did is I put that information into Midjourney, and this was some of the images that came out of that. So I thought it gave a nice flavor of this technology. So Howard Gardner describes 9 types of intelligence. There's nature smart. So up to about 300 years ago, if you weren't good at nature smart, you'd die. And then there's life smart, reasoning, I'm good at numbers, word smart, and so forth. So anyway, there's these different types of smarts. And now we have this intelligent X, this 10th type of intelligence, which is intelligent augmentation, how we work with computers and technology and AI. I like this quote. Edward Hubbard said, "One machine can do the work of 50 ordinary men. No machine can do the work of one extraordinary man." I would add, or woman, that knows how to collaborate with the right tool. So how can we use intelligent collaboration? Like, I'm horrible at art, but I'm now being able to very quickly create some amazing things. And part of this book club, we have artists and who can take the artwork and then create even more great artwork from that. So it's been a very exciting time. So I put in the chat links to this group, but if you're interested, feel free to join that. So artificial intelligence, there's different types of artificial intelligence and different, from devices to agents, machines, robotics, weapons, unfortunately. Where's this world going with artificial intelligence? Alvin Graylin, he talks about, he's the president of HTC China, and he says the metaverse is really the internet plus 3D plus these devices, this virtual reality XR devices. I added to this that there's AI in this, there's communication, 5G, 6G, 10G, Wi-Fi, there's cloud, there's digital twins, digital wallets. So, Matthew Ball talks about a critical mass of pieces working together. And this 2020 is going to be a really exciting times for that. There's $15 trillion is expected by 2030 for AI, and that will be complemented with 5G and 6G technologies to be another $13 trillion of economic development. It'll be across different sectors. There's about 14 different sectors, from healthcare, real estate, education, and how will communication, how will AI impact each one of these? It will be very interesting to see how that happens. And, if you're not aware of these tools, you'll be limited in your profession. So this is something to consider as we're exploring this. Alvin talks about the metaverse equals the internet that's become spatialized, amplified with artificial intelligence. So he talks in his presentation, talks about the metaverse as a 3D version of the internet powered by AI and the interface with XR. So this is the future of the 2020s. So we'll see where this goes. He also talks about the value of the metaverse, and it's the value is the number of different interoperable worlds, places you can go, just like links and web pages that you can go in the internet today. Now we'll go into these worlds, these places, and then this type of devices interacting with flat screens or immersive devices, and then the time people spend in this. So why do you spend time in that? The technology is changing very quickly from a device perspective. Right now it's still somewhat clunky, but Qualcomm put a slide in the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years, we're going to have these smart glasses that will just be transformative. Qualcomm talks about their Snapdragon XR2 platform that's 50% lower power and has 2.5 better AI performance. So we're getting there. I still think it's going to be a few more years before it really takes off, but this technology is coming. And so we'll see what happens. I like to think about, how humanity can stay ahead about this AI advantage supremacy. So if a job is dirty, difficult, dangerous, or dull, repetitive, give it to the AI. I don't want to be doing this technology. But if it's how we can stay ahead of this is the C's and P's of humanity. So finding passion and purpose. Humanity has our advantage over AI when a job requires creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, cooperation, making meaningful connections, responding to change. So these are the focuses that we should look at. I would mention that Cable Labs had an event. They had $300,000 of prize money looking at this 10G challenge. So how will we live, work, learn, play in the 2020s? And so I worked on 2 teams, one KC Digital Drive in the University of Kansas School of Nursing on immersive education technology solution, and also a company MetaView on the best breast cancer care everywhere with a KU Cancer Center doctor. And we actually won the grand prize for healthcare prize, and then also the top prize for the learn category. So Cable Labs, which is all the cable companies, there's about 80 million cable internet customers out there, and these labs say, okay, what will the future of technology be? And this is the learn category. They did a video, but they talked about the VR worlds of education, holodecks, and AI assistants. So here, this 10-year-old girl interacting with her AI assistant, and just seeing where will this future be in the next 5 to 10 years. In fact, what I said to Cable Labs when we got to go to Philadelphia to get the prize, and I said, what we need to do is bring this 10-year-old girl in 10 years, and so she would be 20, and see how that world changed. See, she'd be likely be in college. How is her experience? So she go from what could be the future to what will be, what is the present in 10 years from now. So we'll see what happens. Alvin Grayland talks about immersive VR classes and helps concentration by a factor of 6x, helps grades by 1 grade better using this technology. So how can education be used? I think it's going to be interesting. Navigation, AI navigation is also critical. And that's what this project we worked on with the best breast cancer care everywhere. If you go to a nationally trained National Cancer Institute, you have a 25% better chance of survival. And so how can we bring those best cancer doctors to anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world? And that's what this project is working on with artificial intelligence. So, right now there's 60 million surgeries in the country, in the United States, 340 million globally. Right now, a lot of these surgeries are open, that they happen to be open surgeries. Only 24% are minimally invasive. So what this technology does is allows you to do needle placement of tumors, so you can get within 2 millimeters and kill the tumor that way, as opposed to opening up the body. So hopefully this technology will make for better care, having specially trained doctors to do this care. So I'm going to end the talk. Let's see, I got a couple more minutes. So I'll just talk about, Kai-Fu Lee. He talks about 4 waves are artificial intelligence and applications. And so wave 1 was this AI internet AI, and then business AI, perception AI, and then autonomous AI. And so it will be interesting to see where these 4 waves go, and what, as we're the foundations of the 2010s to going into the 2020s. Kai-Fu Lee talked about, where are these breakthroughs coming? The deep learning breakthrough was huge. And we're now just, we had these breakthroughs in the technology, and now they're being introduced into the business world, into the community. GPT-3 is an example of that. So we'll see where that goes. Kai-Fu Lee compared the United States to China. And so his book came out in 2018 and kind of compared where China was versus the US in AI in 2018 when his book came out. And then he predicts where China and the US will be in 2023 in these 4 categories. So it'll be interesting to get Kai-Fu Lee's, his thoughts on 2030, next year, 2023, does he still see this? Does he have a 4th category? It will be interesting to see where AI will go and impacts to the metaverse, this internet AI, which is the metaverse, is going to be very interesting to look at. The big carrier, and I mentioned GPT-4 coming out in the next couple months. which will have more data size and a better model precision. So, right now, I've seen different people talk and say, hey, GPT-3 kind of writes the equivalent of the lower 20% of college students, which is still not bad. And what will GPT-4 be? What will GPT-5 be? Or, when does like you can get a bulldozer can do the work of 100 men, right, and women. So, at what point, can this technology write as good as, 90% of humanity or 99% of humanity? And what does that mean for humanity? So these are going to be some of the challenges. So I've given this presentation a couple times, and I kind of end it with these last two slides, which is, when will this metaverse arrive? There's all these predictions. So right now people spend about 7 hours a day in the internet, in some type of device. 50% of that on mobile devices, over 50%. I'm predicting that there will be 1 billion people in the metaverse, and this using these immersive devices at least an hour a day by 2027, plus or minus 2 years. But if we can get that, whenever that happens, let's say it's 2029, 5 years later, we're going to have 5 hours a day and 5 billion people using this technology. Right now, over 5 billion people are on the internet today. There's 8 billion people in the world. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. So when will this internet arrive? The metaverse arrive, this immersive technology. I've worked throughout the different generations from 1G starting in the 80s, now to 5G in the 2010s, were rolled out in 2020s, and we're working on 6G technology. So, in the 2010s, we had this mobile technology where it went from 7% of traffic in 2011 to now 56.8% of traffic is using mobile technology, mobile internet, and the third quarter of 2022. So, in the 2020s, the internet will be truly mobile, right, at 55%, but that's going to grow more and more, and less we're going to be on our desktops, and it'll be all of mobile, because humanity is mobile. And so data in the 2020s, data will be mostly too cheap to meter for most applications. Just like voice, we don't even think about making phone calls because, in fact, people don't tend to make phone calls anymore on their phones. But, we went from voice being expensive to being extremely cheap. We're going from data being very expensive to being very cheap, too cheap to meter. In the 2030s, with 6G, internet will truly become spatial and 3D. It will be AI enabled. So we'll have this AI metaverse, the internet. And so reality and AI will be mostly too cheap to meter, connecting the unconnected around the world. So I'm excited about that. And then in the 2040s with 7G, reality will be too incredible to imagine. So that's my quick talk, and looking forward to questions later in this session. So thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Yeah, always a very comprehensive introduction of every aspect of the AI metaverse. Thank you. Okay, so next, Nico, can you start now?
Hey, yeah, I think Philip is gonna go first, and then I go.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Doug. That was a really enlightening conversation, and something I really wholeheartedly agree with. I mean, I completely second you. So I had a mentor previously described to me that the progression of software development, is a consistent progression of building abstraction layers upon each other, where we have first C, C++, Python, PyTorch, Lightning, now GitHub Copilot. We're really upon the age of the digital renaissance, man, as you kind of alluded to, where the jack of all trades and master of none is less and less becoming less and less hamstrung and limited by requiring specific knowledge or, skills, or limited by their quickness of learning through the advent of really these AI-powered, hyper-skilled acquisitions. With me, as I work with these modern AI systems, it's more about establishing kind of a Socratic-like dialogue with the agent, and conversing with it in a skillful way so as to help us reach a reasoned conclusion, which does require having a breadth of knowledge sufficient enough, to find the interconnectedness between, these knowledge quanta, to really find and create solutions, for, real problems, and especially to, call BS when they do lead astray. So, My background is in the pharmaceutical industries. I worked as a bioprocess scientist for many years before I started doing development, software development. And that work really taught me the importance of viewing models from a systems perspective, in terms of, various input output steps that really flow within each other. So when I'm developing software today, this is how I think really, how the various methods and functions that I write within the overall application flow within the overall application. So for me, it's much more about, a systems engineering. It's more about systems engineering really than it is application development, right? So, at CMO, we're really utilizing various systems. So ChatGPT and Copilot, really, they're helping me do the work now that it took 3 developers before to do. I'm finding myself having less reason to really even bring people on board to do specific things where now I can do it, at a fraction of the time. So, and specifically, we're building AI pipelines and with various public, private, and also internally private developed model that I serve, with, fast API type of scaffolding, scaled, with the assistance of, cloud providers and Kubernetes, and, connected, through Web3 networks with the help of really easy to use modern TypeScript, blockchain libraries, front-end frameworks, and all rendered, with the help of Unreal Engine 5. So these blocks lay the foundation of the modern open source kind of Web3 framework that we can all build upon. So, and specifically, we're really leveraging the emergence of robust text or voice, to 3D mesh generation models to augment and empower our users to build to build really be world builders within our immersive environments, and ChatGPT-like systems to help consult them on the use of aesthetics, really make their creation pop. I recently read an article in The Atlantic. It was written by an English teacher in the Bay Area, and he categorized essentially English students into 3 levels. First, the levels where they have a basic grasp, but they kind of struggle really with basic grammar structure. The second level of students, they've mastered this, and they can now, but they do struggle with more sentence and structure, logical structuring, and more making like a cohesive argument. Whereas the third students, this has become second nature to them. And what they do is that they utilize language in a colorful way to really make their argument shine, and, in a poetic manner, really. And at that point, they've learned to, break rules where it makes sense to break rules, understand why breaking those rules, matter. So I really think that ChatGPT maybe itself is not enough, but maybe with 4 will really be enough to help bring all students up to that third level. So then we can really utilize our minds, our consciousness, our agency, to really shed, the weight of all these tasks that we can now focus on using our creativity to really find solutions. I've always been a science fiction buff ever since a young kid. I started with Asimov Foundation and Hamilton and so many different books, and that kind of perspective I think has kind of aptly prepared me to have hope for the future. I never kind of looked at science fiction as a way of predicting the future. To me, it's always been a way of helping form dialogues or thoughts about the possibilities of what may come, and to help think through the societal kind of consequences or importance before they kind of arise. So, even though we're having this discussion today, about AI systems and how it's affecting our livelihood, I was thinking about this when I was 13. So I think, the point is that we can really do a lot more individually, with all these systems. And from a market perspective, the pace of, the issues that emerge in the world is also quickening with it. So yes, so we are gaining the ability to do more with less, but we're also requiring to keep pace with the market, which may even exceed our own, to find solutions to those things. So it's not making our jobs any easier. If anything, it's really making the importance of working smarter a lot more important. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. It's my 2 cents.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Billy.
Hi,
Okay,
everyone. I'm Nico Farah. I know some of you from before, but I'm just going to give a quick introduction. First, happy holidays. I am an engineer by training. I have master's in electrical engineering, but I have found my way into a little bit more fun stuff like fashion and retail. So we have been building retail tech businesses, always focused on enhancing customer experience. Previously in e-commerce and now in the metaverse. What we realized when we stepped into the Web3 space was, first of all, it was very attractive. The fact that everything is being decentralized. Obviously, we're not there yet, but the fact that people are empowered to do more and have ownership over their IP and talent, that was very exciting to us. And we started also looking into, like, from the customer perspective, what we can offer them. And a lot of the metaverses that we saw existing, they were lacking a lot of things. They were lacking quality because they were trying to be a metaverse for all. And when you're making any product, even a shampoo for everyone, the quality is going to be impacted. So we started focusing on a specific audience. We first started with fashion and luxury. So our quality was defined based on their expectation. And that was very helpful to kind of establish everything based on that. And so from there, we kind of opened up to other industries. So the other part was kind of focusing on empowerment and decentralization. So we have 2 different organizations. One is Chief Metaverse Officer, which is not my title, it's the name of the corporation. And so what we do is that we act like the Chief Metaverse Officer for any business or brand. We create these custom built metaverses on their website. So it's an evolution of their website, which from the user perspective, it will be an evolution of social media and commerce. So it becomes 3D, it becomes a lot more interactive and democratized. And so that's kind of the high level of like what we offer them. More specifically, there are 2 elements to it. One are the virtual experiences that could be environments that we provide, the gamification and all those elements within that. The other part is about our virtual marketplace. Monetization is very important for any business to be sustainable and succeed. And so we want to enable that because a lot of metaverse activation have been so much focused on entertainment only and not so much monetization. So we're very much focused on the commerce element, also coming from the fashion side of things. So those are the high levels of our offerings. There is a lot of aspects of AI that is integrated and will be integrated more from the asset creation, like everyone mentioned, and the avatar creation to the environment creation. And all of these will really help us to scale, because obviously any technology needs to scale. And the more we are moving towards this creative economy, this becomes more and more important that we simplify the process for everyone to be a creator. And so the other organization that I founded is called the Fashion DAO. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that as we're building these immersive experiences and environments for bigger brands, which is quite still expensive, and not every brand or designer can afford it, we wanted to empower these designers and creators. So that's what the Fashion DAO is all about. It's about empowering these designers, creators, and giving them the tools and resources to grow their own brands and presence, and at the same time be a bridge between them and the traditional fashion brands that want to get into the Web3 space, and also gaming and metaverse companies that need better fashion and skins for their avatars. So those are kind of high level of like what the Fashion DAO is all about. And these two companies work very much hand in hand. When we work with a client, they need assets, they need clothing and everything else. It kind of comes from the Fashion DAO, will be placed in the metaverse through the Chief Metaverse Officer. And yeah, in terms of like the results that we are seeing from the businesses that we're working with, it definitely helps with their engagement. The brands have been used to paying for ads and influencers. And now this is a new way of making content and also empowering your customers to now be users and creators and kind of an extension of your organization and your employees. So that's very much empowering, and us having built a DAO, that has really helped with kind of consulting and strategizing around that for any business or brand. And then the other part is about kind of like loyalty. When you're providing better experiences, when you're empowering people in these environments, they will have more reason to come back. One problem that we see with existing Metaverse for Alls is that they lack quality and content. There is not much reason for you to go back unless there is a specific event like the Metaverse Fashion Week or any of that. But even that, then you're going to question the quality. So quality and content are kind of the blocks on the way to really scale and go really for masses to adopt this. And so that's kind of where we are focused on. And we think for brands, it would be so much more reasonable to create their own presence before going into those Metaverse for Alls, and that gives them a lot more control over their data, over the user experience. They can iterate at any time. They can choose any chain they want. If they don't want to use the blockchain, that's totally fine too. We can do without it. All of this being also very accessible is important because not everybody has access to VR headsets. Not everybody has strong GPUs in their computer. So all of those elements have been really important for us as we planned and designed all of this. And then, again, it will impact every aspect of the business, and they can immediately see the ROI. It's not going to be just a marketing ploy that we have seen from a lot of brands. It's actually a better way of monetization and a new version of their commerce presence. Those are kind of high level of like what we are focused on. I also organize and host a lot of conferences and events. I'm an advisor at NFT NYC. I was at the Central Conference. So my focus is so much on bringing attention into DAOs, and especially like fashion being one of the best ways to really bring the masses into Web3 and digital fashion. So that's what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico. Okay, so we only 3 minutes left, but if you allow, maybe we have like about 10-minute Q&A and free discussion time. So is there anyone to have any specific question, or if you have any comment, or you want to participate as like a speaker to talk about your insight? Is there anyone to talk?
Well, one comment I would have in this book club that I'm part of called Bookflow, we have an IP lawyer, and I put this in the chat, but one of the things is look at the terms of service, like on Midjourney or GPT chat or Chat GPT, because if you put like, especially if you have a trademark or a copyright information and you put it in and it's created, I believe the terms of service says that is then in the public domain. So that's one warning that this IP lawyer gave a comment, is that follow your terms of service, because if you're putting this out into these chats, this artificial intelligence, your rights may be limited in the future because of that. So
that's a good point, actually. Additionally, for example, this is one not many people know about is, for example, the same situation like a patent. When you like apply patent, actually it disclose, right? Because unless you specifically mention that you don't want this disclose, but it's a rule that because you disclose your invention, so a lot of people use it for their another invention, That's why they provide you like 20 years exclusive right to you. So whatever you put in the patent application, actually, if you not specifically mention that is copyrighted, it is public domain, right? That's the same situation like GPT-3, right? So whatever you put in there, and then you didn't specify that. For example, in the patent, you can do that, right? In the head, like there is a copyright material actually with copyright, right? So you can use it as a document, but you cannot infringe this copyright, right? The copyright is for the owners, right? I think that the same situation happened, but I'm not sure whether you have a free question about whether you put in, you have a copyright in the GPT-3. I'm not sure whether maybe you have that kind of mechanism that maybe protects something. You need to think about, right? Because people don't know about the situation.
Right.
Is there any question or comment or insight? Okay, Ryan, you are mute. Yep.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you very much for an exciting presentation. I appreciated the variety of perspectives and speakers. And hello, Doug. Good to see you. One question I have is, I'm speaking from the point of view of higher education, thinking about colleges and universities, and as well, I think, high school. How should we be approaching this structurally and pedagogically? By this, I mean, we've hosted a few different sessions of discussing what this means for higher ed. And one follows what a few people have said here so far, which is that we should be able to have students use ChatGPT and similar AI content to help improve student output, to give them a leg up, a kind of, intelligent tutor or filter. But at the same time, as we push this into the metaverse, I wonder about what this means for how we actually build a university. I mean, for example, do we push everything into the metaverse, and then we have to teach students how to navigate the different vicissitudes of AI? I'm sorry? I don't know if that was a question or not.
I'll mute. Okay, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, Dahlia. Do we, for example, assume that everybody in academia is using AI to produce content for the metaverse? That is, faculty who have to do their research, administrators have to write their reports, students who have to do their lab reports and their essays. Do we have really a kind of like thickly mediated world of students, faculty, and staff working through headsets and glasses and working through AI in order to make everything work?
Okay, Billy.
I mean, to quickly kind of comment, that's a very interesting kind of question, Brian. It's something that I've, kind of thought a lot about a lot. And I think what we're going through right now is a bit of a growing pain, in terms of that transition. Yes, we may have to utilize, these funky looking tools or interfaces, but eventually the goal is to make this seamless. Is to make this augment our life and to guide that development, with proper regulations and such, and best practices. But I think, as Doug was saying earlier, that there's a new set of skills that's becoming more and more important, and that we need to clearly communicate with students nowadays. I actually just had an interesting conversation with my sister, and she's an English teacher in Brazil and studied pedagogy for many years. And she's utilizing things like Roblox to better engage with her students, so that now when they walk around in nature, she's teaching them through a much more immersive experience, rather than just rote memorization of language. And so I think it is going to be a shift in perspective required. And I think both students and educators and everybody is going to, adapt, right? It's all about adapting. It's what it means to be human.
Yeah, I would add, I'm working with one university. They have 150 different academic programs. And the question is, which of these programs would have the most benefit with some of these new technologies? And one rule of thumb is this technology still is somewhat clunky. And rule of thumb is don't have the students or faculty spend more than 10 minutes initially into some of this. You start small and get tastes of this and see where it has the most benefit. So it's not like, okay, take your class. It's kind of like the Zoom, where you went from the traditional way to Zoom, and actually people took a step back in how they learned, right? They weren't as engaged. So it's something that you need to be careful about. You do it only as a complement to an existing program. You realize that the technology today will be very different in the next 2 to 5 years as well. But this technology is coming, and just like the internet, most of these, like this 150 academic programs, all of them, I would say, use the internet in some way, use computers, use digital media. And so what does this mean to these students and the faculty as they're trying to learn where this technology is going, to help them be better students, be better educators? I'm a big believer in lifelong learning, and help these students to enjoy learning and to help their creativity. So at least for myself, like I said, I'm not an artist, but using these tools, I can create incredible artwork, right? And I realize it's the AI doing most of it, but at least I can type in and say, I want to do this, this, and this, and then I can say, lead the AI to do things I want it to do. So that would be some of my comments.
Is there anyone to talk about?
Yeah, one other thing I'd like to bring up, where I'm involving the metaverse, one of the metaverses I thought about developing is actually cutting down on recidivism and introducing it into our prison systems to help people get acclimated before they come out, and to incorporate it within the work furlough programs like was suggested. And I think that can be something that can be applied all around the world to help humanity, I believe. So this was a great conversation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Jens.
Hi, so my name is Jens. I'm a fashion designer. I did a talk with Alex some weeks ago. Just ventured into the metaverse. It's really interesting to hear about the AI, because I think it's really the future of where we're going, because intelligence is evolving and how we are processing things is evolving. And I love to hear about it from all the different experts. I'm, of course, a fashion designer, and in fashion, there's a lot of IP, protection, people copying, high street copying high fashion brands. I have always been fascinated with ideas as myself. I like to work from garments I find, so I'm of course inspired by that. So there's of course an inspiration by things you find, but that you deform and they reform it into something else. So I think maybe this idea of IP, as we know it today, is like an imperialistic ownership system that was put in place to protect things that we could in the imperialistic system, and now we're venturing into a new world. Nobody really owns what is a trench coat. Nobody owns what all these images are. Can we say people are owners of anything anymore? If IP is going to generate the new future of writing and creation, who owns what? I think everything has to be redefined in a funny way. And I think that's probably a good thing, because this ownership thing is only about exploiting things financially, isn't it? So it's not really a democratic process. But yes, I think this will definitely evolve. And I love what Nico was saying about how AI can maybe inhabit these empty spaces that we have, all these metaverse spaces where not a lot of things are happening, because it costs a lot of, it's quite expensive to build new experiences all the time, 24/7, 365 days a year. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how AI can help us to generate more outcomes and maybe democratize the whole process in a very interesting way. I really love to hear about it all. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. And I'm sending you a connection request. Would love to chat more.
That sounds great, Nico. I would love to chat to you too.
Thank you.
Okay, so maybe 2 more minutes we can go. Hi, Sharad. I notice you. Hi. Yeah, he's a great guy. Actually, his title is Chief Metaverse Officer. The Nico.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
Nico's
was a
product is
title,
yeah,
but
his product name and his name is his title is Chief Metaverse or CMO, both sides, right? Because I talked with Nico about like whether we can have like a trademark of the CMO or not. 'Cause
yeah,
maybe-
we
yeah.
filed it already. But yeah, I met Sharad in at NFT London. So yes, we are familiar with each other. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for being here. I'm putting my LinkedIn and would love to connect and chat with everyone. And if there's anything we can collaborate, support each other, please let us know.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you for
Happy
everyone.
New
Happy
Year.
holiday and happy new year. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye.
Bye-bye.